All right, let's dive into something I bet you haven't thought about too much since, well, last February.
Oh, Valentine's Day.
You got it, Valentine's Day cards. We see them every year, but have you ever stopped to think where these, I don't know, these tokens of affection really came from?
It's actually a really rich history,
Yeah.
and it goes back centuries.
Wow.
And you might be surprised to learn that it all started pretty far from, the greeting card aisle at the store. We're talking ancient Rome.
Ancient Rome. Okay, not exactly the first place I think of when I think romance.
Right. But this is where we find the roots of Valentine's Day, believe it or not, in a festival called Lupercalia. It was held in mid-February.
Mid-February. Okay, so we're already in familiar territory, I guess, time-wise.
Right.
What exactly went down at this Lupercalia festival?
Okay, so picture this. Young Romans are drawing names from an urn, and this is how they determine their romantic partners for the festival.
Yeah.
It was basically like a matchmaking lottery, ancient Roman style.
Talk about letting fate decide. That's a bold way to kick off a relationship.
Yeah.
Was it all hearts and roses, though?
So, not quite. I mean, we often romanticize the past. But Lupercalia wasn't all, fun and games. It involved certain rituals
Right.
and to appease the gods and ensure fertility, practices that had, we'll say, a bit of a darker side.
Ooh, juicy.
But we'll save that deep dive for another time.
I'm always up for a good tangent. But for now, let's get back to, we were talking about love notes and things. Did those Roman couples, did they express their affection in writing?
Not in the way that we might think of it. The real shift toward written expressions of love, that happened a bit later, during the Middle Ages.
Okay.
And that's when we see the rise of courtly love with knights and troubadours, trying to woo their ladies with poetry and song.
Okay, now that's what I call romance.
Right.
Those handwritten notes, often adorned with calligraphy, those were essentially the ancestors of the Valentine's Day cards we know today, right?
Precisely. And just like today, technology played a key role in their evolution.
Okay.
The invention of the printing press in the 15th century that completely revolutionized the way that these messages of love were created and shared.
Ah, the printing press.
Yeah.
It's amazing to think how that invention transformed everything, books and love letters.
Everything.
So instead of relying on scribes, suddenly you could produce cards on a much larger scale.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we even have an actual piece of history, the oldest surviving Valentine's Day card. It's from the 15th century.
Wow.
It's housed in the British Library.
The 1400s. That's incredible. What's this ancient Valentine like? Is it a simple note, or did they go all out even back then?
It's actually really beautiful. It's handwritten, and it's decorated with these really intricate patterns. They even used gold leaf.
Wow.
It really shows the craftsmanship and artistry that went into even these early expressions of love.
It's really amazing how something as, I don't know, seemingly simple as a Valentine's Day card can have so much history behind it.
It really is. And, that artistry and the attention to detail, that definitely didn't stop there.
Okay.
The Victorian era,
Okay.
with its, emphasis on sentimentality, outward displays of affection. They took Valentine's Day cards to, a whole new level of extravagance.
The Victorians definitely knew how to embrace a good aesthetic.
Oh, yeah.
What made their Valentine's Day card so special?
So picture this lace, ribbons, embossed paper. They even sometimes used real hair woven into the designs.
Real hair. Okay, that's next level commitment to a greeting card.
Sure.
I guess when you're really trying to leave a lasting impression, nothing says, I'm smitten, like a lock of your own hair.
Right. Adds a whole new dimension to, wearing your heart on your sleeve. Right.
Exactly.
But beyond just the materials, this era was really significant for another reason. This is when we start to see the emergence of some really key figures who helped to shape, the greeting card industry as we know it.
Okay. So we've got some, visionaries of sentiment to talk about. I think our source mentioned a few names, and I bet some of our listeners are going to recognize them.
Oh, for sure. So one of the standouts is Esther Howland,
Okay.
often called the mother of the American Valentine.
I see.
In the mid-1800s, she built this, really thriving business
Wow.
around her handcrafted cards.
A true pioneer.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating to see how these individuals took, kind of a simple concept and turned it into a whole industry.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of pioneers, our source also mentioned Eugene Rimmel. The name's, familiar. It's the cosmetics brand.
Yes.
What's his connection to Valentine's Day cards?
So while he was primarily known for his cosmetics,
Okay.
he actually created the first commercially produced Christmas card
Cool.
in 1843.
That's such a fun fact. I'll have to like pull that out of my next holiday party. It's incredible how all these industries kind of intersect in these weird ways.
Yeah.
And of course, you can't really talk about, the evolution of Valentine's Day cards without mentioning Hallmark.
Totally.
Yeah.
Hallmark has really become synonymous with the holiday.
Right.
They definitely didn't invent Valentine's Day or the cards or anything.
Right.
But you can't ignore the impact that they've had on how we celebrate today.
It's like how we use like Kleenex to mean any tissue, even though it's a brand name, right?
Sure.
Speaking of modern times, we've covered everything from ancient Roman matchmaking festivals
Right.
to mass-produced Victorian masterpieces.
Right.
Where does that leave us now?
Yeah.
What are people in the 21st century, what are they looking for in a Valentine's Day card?
Well, we learned from Luxury Valentine's Day that extravagance is making a comeback,
Okay.
but with a modern twist.
Luxury Valentine's Day cards. You piqued my interest. What does that even mean? What does a luxury Valentine's Day card look like these days?
Think of it like the haute couture of greeting cards. We're talking, really high-end materials, fine art papers, handmade embellishments, sometimes even like silk or velvet woven into the design.
Wow, these are a far cry from the like drugstore greeting cards that I'm used to seeing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think exclusivity is a big part of the appeal, right? So we see a lot of limited edition cards, bespoke designs, they even do collaborations with artists.
Wow.
So owning one of these cards is kind of like owning a piece of art.
So it's not just about sending a message, it's almost like giving a gift that has like lasting value.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
And just like a coveted piece of art, these cards can get pretty pricey.
Yeah, how pricey are we talking?
I mean, sometimes hundreds, even thousands of dollars.
That's quite an investment for a single sentiment. But I guess it speaks to the enduring power of really wanting to express love in a tangible way, in a way that's meaningful and lasting.
Definitely.
Are there still people who, while some people are into this modern extravagance, are there still those who really value that more, I don't know, traditional, heartfelt, like handmade approach?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so alongside this kind of luxury trend, we're also seeing people going back to basics a bit, like a resurgence in handmade and personalized Valentine's Day cards.
That really resonates with me. There's something, I don't know, just so special about receiving something, that someone created just for you.
Right.
It feels more, I don't know, personal.
It's that human touch.
Yeah.
It's that element of, personalization that really elevates it from just a card to like a keepsake.
Totally.
And I think it speaks to a larger trend that we're seeing across a lot of different areas of life, which is just this desire for authenticity, right? Especially in a world that's like increasingly dominated by technology.
Oh, 100%.
Well,
and since we're talking about technology, I'm curious, have Valentine's Day cards gone like full on digital?
You know what? Even with like all of the advancements and everything, that tangible card, it still has a really special place in our hearts, I think. However, that doesn't mean that technology hasn't, found a way to like sneak in there.
Okay, I like it.
So we are seeing digital cards, augmented reality features.
Oh, wow. Fancy.
Even like personalized videos, like embedded into the design.
Okay, so that's how you kind of like blend tradition and technology in a cool way.
Exact.
I can see the appeal of that for sure, because it kind of adds like a new layer of, I don't know, of interaction, right?
Right.
And a personalization.
Definitely.
I'll be honest, though, I still think there's something magical about like holding a really beautifully crafted like physical card.
Oh, for sure.
It's like the difference between, receiving a text message from someone or receiving like a handwritten letter,
Right.
Both can like convey emotion,
Sure.
but that physical object just carries a different weight, I think.
It goes back to that human need for like tangible expressions, right?
Yeah.
Something you can hold on to, something you can revisit.
For sure.
And I think that really gets at the heart of why the history of Valentine's Day cards is so fascinating.
Totally.
It's this testament to just this basic human desire to connect with each other, to express love, and to create something that's lasting.
From like whispered sweet nothings in ancient Rome.
Right.
To those amazing handcrafted Victorian cards. And now, we're talking high-tech creations.
Yeah.
It's really incredible to think about how the quest for the perfect expression of love, it just keeps evolving.
It really does.
What do you think the future holds? Like, what's next for the Valentine's Day card?
That's the million-dollar question. I mean, will we see a complete return to simple sentiments? Or will technology take us to, like, a world of holographic love notes and, like, virtual reality dates and stuff?
Oh, man. Well, one thing's for sure, it seems like the evolution of the Valentine's Day card, it's not over yet.
Definitely not.
And after this deep dive, I think we're all going to be looking at those cards a little bit differently come next February.
100%, because behind every card, whether it's a simple expression or something extravagant, there's a story there.
100%. And that's a wrap on another fascinating deep dive. Until next time.